there, thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on my Color Wednesday blog post for June 22nd, 2016, and we're going to be using this adorable Saturated Canaries image called Kisses. Isn't she too cute? I will put a link down in the description box to the little image if you would like to head over and grab one up and color along with me. Otherwise, I have printed my image on Nina 80-pound Solar White cardstock, so let's color. So we're going to start out by doing a quick outline around our girl. For that, we're going to use C0. And let's just start here in the middle. And I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just going to go around the outside. I'm going to make the ground down here, so I'm not worried about going all the way down to the bottom. You could also just go all the way around and not worry about it, and then cover up with the ground later. And I like to do my outlining first, so in case I get some outline where I don't want it to be, I can go ahead and erase it without having to worry about touching any other colors. Makes it very quick and simple. And I'm not even really paying attention to how wide my line is. I'm just going right around the outside. Go around all this great hair she's got. Go down here. Oh, let's do this little heart before I forget. Get in between her hand, we'll do this heart. And we'll just continue down to the bottom of her boot. This way, and come down here where we left off. Quick and easy. So let's do her skin next. For that, we're going to use E11, 21, 00, 000. And for her cheeks today, I'm going to use R12 and 11. And let's start down here on her leg. So she's got a little bit of skin showing there on her leg. So I'm going to start with my E11. And we're just going to do a little dab right along here. And then I'm going to take my E21 and fill that in. There's not too much showing there, so we're not going to worry about that. Then we're going to go up here and we'll work on her arms. So again, I'm going to start with my E11. And I'm going to go right along her shirt sleeve. And then I'm going to bring this color down the side of her skirt. And then for her hand, let's do right along here. And then we'll do her fingers. And we'll come down here onto her elbow. And then I'm going to add E21. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this side in. And then over here, let's fill in the back of her arm. And we'll brush a little bit over here on this side. And then we're going to do E00. Soften that edge. I go over the back arm too. She had a little bit of some lines there, so I took care of that. And then I'm going to go over the entire thing with my E000 and fill in the rest of this little white spot. And then we'll hop up here and do her face and her neck. So again, I'm going to start with my E11. And let's do underneath of her chin and along the edge of her hair and her collarbone. And then up here for her hair, let's go underneath all these curls at the top. We'll come down here and then we'll go right along the edge. And we're going to come down here to her chin. And then we're going to add E21. And let's bring this color along the edge over here. And she's got a little bit above her eye there. And then I'm going to add E00. then our E000. And I'm not worried that it's not blended all the way because I'm going to add cheek color and then come back with a second coat. So let's add R12. And then R11. And then we'll go with E00. And then E000. I think I'll add a little bit more pink, so I'm going to go again with my R12. And then R11. And then I'm going to go over that softly with my E000. Next, let's do her lips and her eyes. For her lips, we're going to use R29 and 32, and for her eyes, we're going to use YG63. I'm going to do her lips first with R29, and I just want to do a little dab on each side and leave a little bit of white there in the center for my R32. Like that. And then I take R32 and just fill it in. And then for eyes, we'll use YG63. And she's got a little white dot here in the center. I'm going to leave that white, so I'm going to go around that. So a little white dot right here. Just add that. Same for this side. And darken them up just a little bit, add a second coat. For her hair, let's use E18, 09, 08, and 01. I'm going to start with my E18, and she's got some great swirls already on here, so I'm just going to use those swirls to just add some little circles in here, and I'm just kind of swirling my brush around in an and sign. And we'll add some in here. And we'll just work our way to the other side. And then we'll do over here on this side. Get more swirls. Okay, that looks pretty good for a first coat. So now we'll add E09, and same thing, we're just going to go through here and add some little and signs or little squigglies. And work our way up here. I'm trying not to color her hair bow. And we'll work our way back around over to this side. And now I'm going to add E08. So again, I'm going to start over here, and I'm just going to, again, add some color in here. You get some of these extra pieces that are like sticking out. Get around your bow. Work our way down to the other side. And I'm going to take my E01 and I want to go over the entire area, and then I'm going to fill in also some of that white space that I left. So let's go up here. And I'm just going to wipe clear across. Let's get down here on some of these. And again, let's color this in. Up here. And we'll work our way over to this side. Like that. And then I'm going to go back again with my E18 and just add a little bit of some dark in here again, just to kind of darken up just a few spots. Make it look like it's not quite so smushed and blended all together. So next, let's work on her dress and her hair bow. For that, we're going to use B97, 95, 93, 91, quadruple 0, and our colorless blender. Now let's start up here at this bow. So I'm going to start with my B97, and let's do, and I try not to color these the dots on there. If you do happen to color over those, you can always go back later and use your colorless blender on them to scoop some out, or use your Sharpie white paint pen just to add some white back in there. So I'm going to put a little bit of lines in here for my bow. And then let's do the underside of this inside of the bow knot. And then we're going to come up here in the middle. And then we're going to do this inside of this knot. And then we want to do a little bit here, like so, and then let's do a little bit out here. Got a little bit of definition there. And then I'm going to go with B95. I'm going to color in the inside, and then I just want to soften some of these edges. So I'm adding just a little bit. I don't want to get too crazy. And then color in the inside of this bow. And then we're going to go with B93. And again, just adding a little bit more color. And then I'm going to add B91. And then lastly, I'm going to use B quadruple 0 to just go over the entire bow. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender And I'm going to add some little white spots. So let's do a little white spot right here. And then maybe up here at the top. We'll push some of that ink away so we can give it a little bit more, make it a little bit lighter in here. And up at the top of this bow knot. And then let's go right in here. A couple little spots. We'll just move that ink around and make it just a little bit lighter in there. That. And then let's hop down here and we will do her dress. So again, I'm going to start with B97. I'm going to start, this piece here is going to be skirt. So we're going to do the top of her dress up here at the top. So again, I'm going to start with my B97. We're going to go underneath of her sleeve and along her arm. And then I'm going to color in this band on the bottom of her shirt sleeve. And then for her bodice, let's go right along here. This, but we want to bring it out just a little bit, so I'm going to flick away from the side, and then again on this side let's color in the armband of her shirt, and then let's go underneath of her hand, like this. Let's bring this around. And then I want her shirt to have a few little wrinkles. So let's bring this up like so. And maybe over here where there's a little bit of space. And let's do a little bit right here. And then I'm going to go with B95. And then we just want to soften these lines. I'm just going to go along the edges, and then we'll add B93, and then B91. And then our B quadruple 0. And again, I want to swipe this clear across. All right, then we're going to go down here and we are going to do her skirt. So let's start on these that are showing over here on this side. So I'm going to start again with my B97, and we're going to do these three little pieces over here. So let's go right, there's a little thin line along the edge of each of these, and then this one, let's do a little bit along the bottom of the top ruffle and then across the side. And then we're going to add B95. And I'm trying to get a very small line going there. And then B93. And then B91. And then we'll go over the edge with our B quadruple 0. And then I'm going to grab my colorless blender and I'm going to run it along the edge of each of these and give it a little bit of a highlight. And I also want to do, as long as I got it out, let's do this part of her dress. So I'm going to do a little bit of brushes right here along this side and then a little bit inside of her sleeve here. Okay, then let's go down here and we'll do this side of her skirt over here. So again, I'm going to start with my B97. And let's start on this back one since it's the closest. And we're going to go right along the edge. That. And then we'll get this next one. Let's do a little bit along the inside because that's the underside of her dress there. And then we're going to make this wrinkle go all the way up. And then I'm going to come down the edge of this. And so I don't get too far ahead, I'm going to now go with B95. Sorry about that. I guess the dog decided to hang out in the hallway and throw a big fit. So here we got B93. And let's do just a little bit here. I'm going to fill in this bottom part. And I'm going to go with B91. And then I'm going to take my B quadruple 0 and go over the entire blue part here at the top. Okay, and then let's start on the next one. So again, we're going to start with our B97. And again, this one, the little line doesn't go all the way down, so I'm going to go ahead and make that go clear. Cleared out. My pen wasn't working there. I had to brush it on some paper. I let it sit out here and get dried out while I ran and did something else, I guess. And I'm going to go wrong with this one. That's what I get for not putting the lid back on. And then up here, let's go right along the bottom of her arm. I'm going to go ahead and just do the bottom of her arm all the way over here to the apron because I'm going to end up doing that later. And again, let's go down this side. And then for this one, we're going to do the top of the underneath. And then we'll come down the seam, or the ruffle. And then the next ruffle. And I'm going to go ahead and go clear down to the bottom. And then we're going to go right next to the apron. This, and then we're going to go inside this bottom section. And I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to color in underneath right here. Okay. Then I'm going to add B95. So again, we don't want to do too much. So got to hold my pen more up so I don't make such a big line here. More up and down. Go right along the edge of that line. Add just a little bit more. Inside this. And then we'll add B93. So again, you want to hold your pin up a little bit straighter. And I fill in the bottom of each of these inside sections. And then we'll add B91. And then we're going to go over the whole thing with B quadruple 0. Okay, and then also I want to do this next little section of ruffles right here. So I'm again going to start with my B97. And let's do the inside right here, and right here. And then let's do right along this little section, and right here. And then for this one, let's do right up along this one, And then for this cute one here, let's go down the inside of this. And then I'm going to brush, let's go along the bottom here. And then let's brush this way just a little bit. And then for each of these, same thing, I want to brush a little bit. And over here, this is just a little dinky one, so let's do just the end. And then I'm going to grab B95. Being careful with that one, that's pretty skinny. And then we just want to add a little bit to each one of these lines. And then we'll add B93. And then B91. And then our B quadruple 0. And then we are going to take our colorless blender. Now that we have all those cute little ruffles done, I'm going to run my colorless blender just along the top of each little hump. Give it a little bit of a highlight there on this edge. So let's also do this little pocket on her apron. So again, I'm going to start with B97. And on the little stamp here, that didn't go all the way, the line doesn't go all the way to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and make it go all the way to the edge there. And I'm bringing it around to that dot, like that. And then I'm going to add B95. And I'm trying not to color the dots on the pocket. Let's go around this dot over here. And then we'll add B95. Turn my girl a little bit more here. Or sorry, B93. That last one was B95. And then B91. Whoops, colored that dot. And then B quadruple 0. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender and go right on the edge here. And then let's see if we can fix some of these dots that I colored blue on accident. Let's add some purple. For that, we're going to use V06, 04, 01, and 000, and our colorless blender. And we're going to do that for the hearts and this bottom ruffle here underneath the first skirt. So let's start up here at these little hearts at the top. And I'm going to do V06 first. Now about that side. And then we'll add V04. And then V01. And then V quadruple 0 or 000. do the hearts here in her little, her pocket. Again, I'm going to start with my V06. Let's do a little dab here, and then on this one we'll go along the bottom of the pocket. And then we'll add V04. V01. V000. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender, and I'm just going to give a little bit of highlight up here at the top. And maybe a little bit to these hearts over here. Give them a little dab here on in the light area. And then for this bottom ruffle, again, we're going to start with our V06. So let's start over here. And we'll work our way to the other side. And then we'll add V06, or no, sorry, V04. And then we'll add V01. And then V000. And I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm going to flick it backwards from this light section back towards my dark. For the apron and this bottom ruffle right here, we're going to use C3, 1, and our colorless blender. I'm going to start with C3. Let's start down here on this bottom ruffle. And then we're going to add C1. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender and just go the edge of that C1 and soften that edge out into the white here. Then for the apron, we're going to start with C3. Let's go up here and we'll go right along the edge of her dress first. And then I'm going to go, let's see. We're just bringing this color down along those lines. Let's give it another wrinkle right here. And then over here, for this one, let's go, I want it to go down here to this little bump. So let's go down like this. and then give it a little curve at the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do another one over here. Like that. And let's see, there's a little notch in her apron right here, so I'm going to another one right here, so let's go. And then again, a little notch there at the bottom. And let's use this little line right here and come down with a little notch on the bottom of this section. And then over here, I'm going to do so we've got a bunch of little lines there. Now I'm going to take my C1 and I just want to widen those. So let's go right over the top. And I'm making the ink go on both sides of that line. And we're just going to work our way across with each of those lines. Then I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm just going to, I'm trying not to touch the blue or the purple or anything else. I'm just going to swipe over the entire top of that gray section and kind of smush those colors together and soften the edges. Be careful, don't touch that pocket. And then I just left it like that. Let's do the boots next. For that, we're going to use C97531 in the colorless blender. I'm going to start with my C9. And let's do this right boot first. So I'm going to use my C9, and I'm going to do a small line right next to the shoelace tie parts. And then we're going to do the same thing on the inside where the shoelaces are. And then the outside of her boot on this side. Okay, and then I want to bring this line over here with the side of her boot is. And then I'm also going to brush this and bring this line over. And then we're going to do the sole. And then I'm going to add C7. So I'm just going to touch down on the edge of C9. And just add a little bit more. And then we're going to go with C5. So again, we want to touch down on the side of our C7. Then we'll do C1 or C3. I'm going to color this back section in. I've run out of space. And then we're going to fill it in with C1. I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm going to whiten up this little line above our shoelaces and along the seam of these stitching on her boot and then along this edge. And we're going to hop over here and do this boot. So again, we're going to start with C9. So let's go down that. We'll go down the inside of our stitching, the outside of our stitching. And then we'll do the inside of her boot over here where her laces lace up. And then I want to do the inside of her boot. And like the other side, I want to do a little bit on this line and then on the stitching and the sole. Then we're going to add C7. And then C5. And then we'll add C3. Not much over here left, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And bring this along this line. And then we'll use our C1 to fill that in. I'm going to take my C3 or C5 and I'm going to fill in the inside of her boot here. Make that a little bit darker. And I'm going to take my colorless blender and like the other side, I'm going to go down the edge and inside of her shoestrings, top the cross of her little where her bows are, or shoestring is. And then let's do a little bit right here. So let's give her something to stand on. For the ground, we're going to use W1, E70, and W00. And I'm going to start with my W1, and I'm going to start where I left off for my outlining. So let's go right across. Kind of make me a little line so I know where to go. Like that. So I know that's where I stopped. So now I'm just going to add some lines going away from her boot. Add some over here. And then I'm going to grab E70. I'm going to add some right over the top. Just for something different, I'm using E70 today. Has a little bit of purple down here. And then I'm going to soften it all with my W00. I'm going to swoosh right over the top of those last two colors and go out past the edge. Then I'm going to come back with my W1 and just add a little bit more of that dark back in. So there is our beautiful Kisses image, all colored up. Didn't she turn out cute? I love that hair in that dress. It's just fabulous. If you would like to see my finished card, head over to the store blog on June 25th, 2016 for that post, and you can see what I did with this little cutie. If you have a question, make sure and leave me a comment, and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you had fun coloring with me today, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.